Okay, yeah, so you're disappointed with that how it turned out, Jubilee? Are you disappointed right now as a youth in your leadership?
I would say that there's a lot that needs to be done.
No. Answer the question.
That's short
Are you
for
disappointed?
disappointed.
See, there's a lot that needs to be done. Are you disappointed? These two fell apart. Their vision, agenda forward collapsed. Come on, I mean...
Deep down, how do you feel?
Well, I feel that the youth have been left out.
See, youth in this country is from like 65 to 90. So my dad has been a youth for the last so many days.
In my youth.
I'm like, hey, salimia youth ukifika ushago. So all there was is. Anyway.
So we're going to talk about that with two young people who are very outspoken and they know what they want, which is really good to see and very encouraging. Alice Wangari, otherwise known as B. Wakili, is in the house. She's a lawyer. She's an outspoken youth activist, and she's standing in Kiambu in next year's election. Watch out. And Billion, yep, that's his real name, Billion Okoth Ojiwa, is a community organizer in Madare. Folks, welcome to Hot 96.
Thank you.
Karibuni sana. Alice. So, where do we start?
To begin with, Jeff, let me just say hi to my Mbogi, the youth. And we say, Ngumi ni Mbwekse, na Mbogi ni Genje. A Wallan. and you and Nick, I hear that one of you has been around the world, and the other one, the world revolves around them. Yeah. So for me, I would say that I've been around Africa, and Africa revolves around me.
Oh,
nice. You're good with words too.
Yeah. So how come you didn't stand for office before, Alice?
Because I was engaged internationally. I was working with the COMESA Court of Justice in Khartoum. I was working under the Office of the Registrar. I came with heavy lessons from all over Africa. Stories of youth and empowerment and, high levels of poverty from Madagascar. I gained experiences also from Namibia, South Africa, all those things really were a learning curve for me. And during 2017 elections, that is the time that I was, I was coming back to the country from my service at the COMESA Authority. So I joined in. I was added to the Young Jubilee group. And at that time, I participated, though briefly, in the re-election of President Uhuru Kenyatta and Deputy President William Samoei Arap Ruto. Yeah, so I participated in Jubilee B. I mean, election B.
Right.
Yes, in the campaign at least.
What a mess that turned out to be.
Yes, and then after that, we formed a group that was more of a lobby group to have more youth appointed in these public offices, the CS, PS, and parastatal offices, as well as ambassadorial. It was called the Young Professionals Association of Kenya.
Okay, yeah. So you're disappointed with that how it turned out, Jubilee? Are you disappointed right now as a youth in your leadership?
I would say that there's a lot that needs to be done.
No. Answer the question.
That's short
Are you
for disappointed.
See, there's a lot that needs to be done. Are you disappointed? These two fell apart. Their vision, agenda forward collapsed. Come on, I mean...
Deep down, how do you feel?
Well, I feel that the youth have been left out in key decision-making, organisms. I believe that, especially in the Big Four agenda, the issue of agriculture and food security is something that the youth ought to have been heavily involved in, seeing as the youth are the labor providers. And when we go through the principle of Marxism, whereby there is the issue of the raw materials, production, and then marketing of the goods. In all those three stages, the youth need to be involved because they are the labor providers. Therefore, we cannot have the youth who are at the primary level, and then when we come to the tertiary level, it is a scheme that has been taken over by cartels, and the youth have been elbowed out.
You mean let down?
Yes.
Why don't you just say let down?
Let's bring Billion in. Go on, Billion.
I think we are massaging the problem
Yeah.
now. I think as a young person from Madare, I think I've been let down by the government.
Okay.
And I think I speak for many young people across the country, because one thing that we got from the duo was hope. There was so much hope. And when we saw things starting to fall apart, we've also been, losing hope. So I think as a young person, I feel so disappointed, and I feel if there's nothing much that is done anytime soon, then we'll have a problem with this generation, because there's nothing to look forward to.
Like you say, you come from Madare, and once people start losing hope, this also brings other things piling on, like depression and all this.
Mental health.
Yeah, mental health becomes affected because it starts by losing hope. What are you doing? What initiatives have you come up with to at least take the youth in that area to the next level? Because coming from a disadvantaged area, that also negates a lot of things.
Especially this time of Corona, we've had programs that are supporting young people. So I have partnered with MasterCard Foundation, and we've had a program that supports the livelihoods of these young people. So we've been making masks in the community. So we have young people and women who are making masks within the community. We've been providing soap we are made within the community, and I have a team of 180 young people that are working 3 times a week just to get something to pay rent, because that is the basic that somebody in Nairobi or in a slum can ask for.
So what do they do?
So what they do is just we distribute water, we distribute soap, we distribute masks in the community as a way of protecting the community, but also earning something out of it.
I've noticed also government to do like initiatives where you clear garbage, you talk about making masks. But now in the long run, you've gone to school, you've got some knowledge. Is that what you want our youth to be doing? These basic things like making masks, because masks are now very cheap, or soap.
No, this is a supported program, and for us, this is a panadol for what is happening now in our community. That responsibility should be a government responsibility to understand what young people want or need, and coming up with a solution. So what we are doing right now, it's because our community is a very vulnerable community.
Yes.
Even the basic as masks, people cannot afford to buy. So what we did is just to protect our community, and in the process also earn something out of it. But we should have a proper long-term plan for such vulnerable communities, because if anything will happen to this country, it will start from those informal settlements.
Yeah, Alice, look, and I don't want to dwell too much on Kiamba recently, but you were part of that, right? And you saw the youth are the ones who were mostly out there, I guess being lured, or the ones who are trying to be convinced. And that was a mess.
Yes.
Kiamba was a big mess.
Correct.
And the youth, you say you're the majority, you are the smart ones, we will, kwa ground vitu ni different. It is never different. What is it? What is it with our youth? What do they want?
Okay. So what we got from Kiamba, I being heavily involved in the campaigns there, the youth, painted a picture of neglect. They painted a picture of helplessness, hopelessness, and penury. And from that, we could see pictures of youth who have been thrown into, drug abuse, alcoholism, Most of them, told us that they have gotten into police conflict, police harassment. Extrajudicial execution was also another issue that was raised from the Kiamba campaigns. And that is one of the reasons why we were asking them to elect a government or system-friendly MP so that he could manage to deal with that issue in consultation with the DCI. So what we got from Kiamba is that the youth are revolting against the system because they say that the programs that have been, crafted by the system are not trickling down to them.
Maybe you can expound more on you said there's youth centers where they
Yes.
can use internet to do work online.
Yes.
What jobs are there online
at the youth center, we are going to supply them with free internet connectivity. In fact, one of the laudable programs that the Kiambu Township CDF office has embarked on is to connect every school with free Wi-Fi connectivity. So the difference with working from home is one that you are not going to have the privilege of having free connectivity, and also that cutting that cost of free internet connectivity. Again, it also exposes you to, bigger business networking opportunities. And then remember, this establishment of the youth center is preemptive, because these are the things that, were preconceived by the BBI proposals. Yes.
Billion, you have something in Mathare called Impossible Not.
Yes.
Please explain to us.
No, for us, impossible not means, everything is possible. Because when we were growing up, most of us, there was no hope. We were hopeless. And I've seen a few of us who took the positive steps in making our community better, in building ourselves, moving further steps forward. I have been engaging Madarians in diaspora, and their hope for our community is just massive. So we have to start planting that and creating a generation that believes in themselves. And that is why now the impossible not comes in. And we're doing different activities within the community, but also seeking opportunities for people, especially young people within Mathare.
Do you see hope? Do you see hope?
Yeah, I see hope most of the time, even when it is not clear, but I see hope most of the time. If some of us were able to, make it past Mathare, then I believe we can create a generation, the coming generations can also be hopeful. But that is the only thing that holds us as the people of Mathare, because everything else, everything is disorganized. So the only thing that we can hold on is hope.
I hear people saying, we hope people can make it past Mathare. Maybe you can describe to someone what exactly is life like in Mathare, to the point making it out of Mathare seems like such a big achievement.
I just want to give 2 examples of making it out of Mathare. Last week on Thursday, I was coming from home, going to work in Mathare. There were like 3 or 4 young guys who were snatching somebody in a broad daylight, and they're doing this because they're hopeless. And within 2 days, one of them was killed. So that is the life in Mathare, that we're doing everything that we can to survive, because that person, for them to go to that extent, there's something that is missing. And that is why we say, if you can make it beyond Mathare. And I also have a friend who is learned, who did everything. Everybody was hopeful, was a role model to many of us when we were growing up. Now he's a security guard somewhere in Doha. So that is the comparison of what is happening in the community. There's so much that needs to be done, and young people are losing hope so early, because if you're looking for somebody that you are looking that was your role model, going through the system and not being able to be in a place where all of us thought they would be, then
and yet, guys, when you look at the lineup for 2022, it's the usual suspects. It's the same old guys. And you people are being lured. You're being duped by the same old guys. Alice, come on. I mean, for us, you can say, okay, you guys, you're old, forget about you guys. Your generation let us down. What are you guys doing about it?
Now, Jeff, to begin with, I must express my disappointment. Last week, there is a story that aired on Citizen TV about how one faction that is breaking away and trying to form another one has now formed a technical committee that is going to craft their manifesto. And it was an all-man affair. There were no youth that were involved. There were no women. And I remember ranting in our group and saying that we need to protest against an all-man show, because if a manifesto is supposed to be hatched, then where is the voice of the youth? Where is the voice of the women? Where is the voice of the minority groups? We must operationalize Article 55 of the Constitution. Nothing for us without us. That has always been my clarion call. And Jeff, I must say that observing the political scene for a long time in our country, I must say that it is hostile towards, youth candidacy in political participations. One, because it is highly capitalistic. The amount of money that a youth or any candidate for any political seat has to raise is astronomical. It's crazy, Jeff. And if you have been away from elective politics, you're not an incumbent as at now, it scares you away. Because how are you going to, contest against a sitting MP, a sitting governor, a sitting senator who has had, all those trappings of power, all the privilege to earn money?
Are you disappointed, Billion?
Yes, I don't know where our politicians, especially now the big guys, get the moral authority to, still come to convince us. And I want to say, the political stunts that have been going around, it is so unfortunate. But what I know is we don't have alternatives, serious alternatives, in regards to what my sisters said. Looking at the budgets, they're extremely expensive to run for an office in this country. But I want to say, and mark my words, I know there's going to be some changes. And if the hustler narratives sells like it's now selling, I think that is the worst mistake that we'll ever do. Because after this, there'll be a revolt by young people, because we are so hopeful now, and the hustler narrative is really getting into the veins of young people. If it happens, God forbid, and we get to the next government with the hustler team and nothing is done, then you're going to see the wrath of young people.
Nobody knew his name. He had no money. He had no backing. And he had a funny last name. Nobody could associate with him. Barack Hussein Obama.
Yes.
And you saw people were sending him $10, $5, whatever it was. They were sending money through the post to campaign for this guy. Not to compare ourselves with America, but I'm just saying, is there anyone out there? Could someone come up between now and August, a year from now?
I don't...
Go on.
I don't think so, but what I can tell you for free is we're going to have the small, the MCAs, the MPs, we're going to surprise, there'll be going to be surprise figures. So you're going to see nobody's in those positions, because I think people have learned the lessons the hard way, especially during this COVID-19, that, sometimes we're just on our own. We might be relying, we might be hoping that, the changes will come from our elected leaders. It is not forthcoming. So what I know for sure, I am not sure about the presidency, but I am sure that the MCAs, the MPs, we are going to be surprised.
Yeah, Alice.
Jeff, I would say that it's very possible. You could just be staring at the next president right here.
Hello.
Yes, hello. Yes. We could also make a power combination of Billion here.
Yes.
Anything is
Biwakili
possible.
and
Yes,
Billion.
exactly.
That would be nice.
Combination. Would you do that, Alice? Would you?
Yes, I
If you were
would.
called upon?
Yes, I would.
Really? Why?
Yes.
Why?
Because there's a lot of hopelessness with our youth, and it is draining everybody.
That hustler narrative is working in a lot of areas. It is resonating.
I believe that it is just a wave, and at some point it is going to fizzle out, Jeff. It is going to fizzle out, and we are actually, through our daily engagements, are trying to speak sense to people. They should not desire anything that is below their worth.
Billion, what are they saying in Madari about the hustler narrative?
I think maybe we are coming from different communities, but in my community, it's because we lack something to do. So the narrative is really selling. I don't subscribe to the narrative myself, because I believe what she said, that there's more that we can do as a country.
Exactly.
And we need to start from somewhere, but that somewhere should not be the wheelbarrows and the things that we are seeing around. Yeah, we have so many young learned young people. We can create decent jobs for our people.
But do you feel like also politicians sell a lot of hope to hopeless people, and a lot of people gather together saying we are hopeless. It comes from an individual, and then the people at the table say, now here, let's create space for you. The same way the 2/3 gender rule came about. The women said, and we got 2/3 for them.
There'll always be so many young people. So let's be serious about young people.
Okay,
Because
do you want to stand for office, Billion? Are you going to?
Yes.
Good. What?
You don't sound very certain.
Yeah, it's like you haven't made up your mind, but
Yes. No, I ran for Madare parliamentary seat in 2014 during a by-election.
How did that go?
I didn't win. I think I was not. I thank God I didn't get any further because I was not prepared as I am now.
you are now.
Yes, because by then it was. I was just trying to say that I don't like when other leaders come from outside to come and rule us and leaders.
So you're ready.
And the youth there didn't believe you then, or what?
No. I think they were very right because I was not ripe at that time. Right now, I believe I have ideas that can take Madare to the next level.
Give me 3 of them, top of your head.
Top of my head, one is education. As we speak now, there are so many young people who are not in school, and if you look at the bursaries that we give to students from Madare, 5,000 cannot even change a life. Cannot. So looking at the school fees, because that is the basic need that we can use to change Madare education. Right now we have university students who are at Nairobi University and different universities across the country. But if you look at them, they're also burdens to their parents. So you're going to uni, parents are so hopeful that, when you're going to university, as other countries do. I know in the US, when you go to the university, you are able to pay for your fee. You're also able to even support your families.
It's a loan you're given that you pay for many years. It's like help, but now on a whole new level.
But at least you're able to pass through that you transition there. Right now, we have students who cannot even sit for their exams because there's no that loan. They cannot. You are in and out of the classroom. So which one is better? Get a loan and pay, take a couple of years pay, or be in school but you spend 10 or so years because you're not able to pay for your fee. So that is one. The second one is youth employment. There are so many products and companies that are dump their products in Madare every single day. They don't have any CSR in Madare. Nobody is employed in those companies. What we are going to do is just negotiate and say we can start as sweepers. For example, even kwa Superloaf, we can start as sweepers. But I am sure in 10 years, they'll not need another billion to negotiate for them. The CEOs in those companies will come from Madare or other informal settlements. That is the second thing. The third thing is our women. They work so hard every single day. They cannot access even the loans because of the security and all those things that are needed for them. So we're going to create an environment where we have a pool that supports the women and the youth empowerment.
Let me ask you, Billion. Someone wakes up, they go to school, they become 16, 17 years. For you to push for them to start life as a sweeper, do you feel like that is...
No.
No. Billion, let me call you out today. Imagine me, they have gone through life. I have someone who's fighting for me to enter a company to start sweeping. Nowadays, they're vacuum cleaners. Yeah. There are women, you're saying, can't get loans. People give out loans as a business. Yeah. If you don't have security, I can't get my money back. Do you see how you guys continue with that thing of creating more hopelessness?
And Nick, you did not understand my logic.
No, I'm very good in English. I understand you very well.
Maybe we should do a trip with you in Madare. Just a visit, then you'll get to picture what
I don't know what I am talking about. You get my point.
Yes. Yeah. Alice, what are your 3 things? Real quick, your 3 things, because you want to be either woman rep or senator. I mean, and there are not that many women, by the way. What are your 3 things?
My 3 things. The first thing is, and I've really been impressing this on the current leadership of Kiambu County, that I'm going to get into a negotiation with all the established industries in Kiambu County as a form of CSR to ask them to employ some of our youth within those industries so that they can participate in the production level of raw materials. We have a couple of industries that are coming up in Kiambu County. There is also rumor that is rife that Thika is angling towards a city status, and therefore there's going to be expanded industrialization there. Secondly, I am also going to, work with women, especially in the markets, to make sure that the hygiene levels are, of high quality. One of the things is, to establish, very good and clean toilets. And also, it is going to be an avenue to create employment for the youth. They can be cleaners, when they form a CBO, and then they can be given that tender for cleaning, as the women also enjoy the clean services. And that way, we are going to be improving the health of the people of Kiambu County. Yeah, and thirdly, I'm also going to address the issue of, mental challenges. Remember that in the latest survey, Kiambu County has featured as the top most affected county when it comes to socio-psychological issues. And therefore, we're going to have those national conversations, parents and pupils, parents and students, to see how we can bridge this societal gap. We can also, engage the national government to see how they can assist us in collaboration to create avenues for employment and also empowerment of the youth.
And don't forget the alcoholism problem.
Yes, alcoholism as well.
There's a big problem there.
Yeah.
Billion, let's start with you. What do you tell the people of Madari now? Like Nick was saying, there's so much hopelessness and desperation, and people just, they have nothing to look forward to. What do you tell them?
I know I keep telling impossible not. I think the better days are ahead. Let's just fasten our seatbelts. Hopefully soon we'll have solutions to our problems.
Alice B. Wakili.
Yes.
Go on. What do you tell the people of Kiambu and also youth in general? Because tomorrow's International Youth Day, right?
Yes.
What do you tell youth in general?
I would tell them not to give up hope. We must keep foot on pedal. We must continue this conversation even beyond tomorrow being International Youth Day. We must continue discussing issues that bedevil the youth, because the youth are, the primary economic drivers of any successful country. And therefore, we must set our eyes on the prize. Do not accept to be, divided through political rhetoric. We must set our eye on the prize, and I, as your representative, will continue to champion for your rights, to champion for what is due you. And in the same breath, Jeff, I have seen a story on the Daily Nation this morning that there's a looming cabinet reshuffle. I would just like to, on national radio, appeal to the appointing authority. Si mimi youth yoyote mwenye amehitimu na anafaa hiyo kazi apate, na pia sisi tutampigia makofi na tutashangilia. If it is me, ni sawa. Kama ni mwingine pia ni sawa. Kama ni billion pia tutamshangilia. Yeah?
Let me ask you you don't have to answer this question, but youth is what, 18 to 35, right?
Yes.
How old are you?
I'm 29.
For how many years have you been 29?
No. By the way, I can show you my ID. I just turned 29 on Sunday.
Billion?
33.
So you have 2 more years. You're on the edge, right?
Yes.
That is why I have to work extra hard. Otherwise, these young people will teach us a lesson.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the people behind you are
they're
more
watching.
aggressive.
They're more aggressive. Remember, for Billion and I, it is do or die. In the next 5 years, I will be away from the bracket. So will he. Yes.
And we will be on the somewhere.
Senior youth.
Alice Wangari, aka
Kazi kwa vijana, pesa kwa wazee.
Yes.
Wakili Billion Okoth Ojiwa. Thank you so much for coming over today.
Yes.
And thank you for the t-shirts. We appreciate it.
Karibu sana.
Impossible not.
Yes.
It's all
Yes.
about the youth. Happy Youth International Day, International Youth Day.
Thank you.
Well done, guys. Well done. This is what we call
Candid interviews with decision makers.